friends. Whoop! Fooled you. I know you were thinking I was going to say bonjour, mes amis, but I'm rolling in English today. Yeah, I'm rolling. Just like I started rolling to get another job. I had a car, and I started applying for other jobs. And I landed a job at Prudential Insurance Company, which was in the middle of the town, in the highest building the town had, which was 5 stories. Century Plaza, it was called. Right in the middle of Lansdale, a very small town in Pennsylvania, of course, United States. And I was interested in the job. It was life insurance. And there was about 12 different jobs in the office. And I liked all the girls. They seemed to like me. And I started one job. And I excelled in that. I asked if I could change and learn another job. And my manager said, sure. So as time went on, I did every one of those jobs. Every one of them. And I like that. I don't want to keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. I'd be heck on an assembly line. That would drive me, I'd go bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. My mind has to be moving. Anyway, I was doing very well, and I had been on the underwriting area. Now that's when you receive the applications, life insurance applications from the agents, and you check over the applications before you submit them to the home office. That was my job. Well, we were the best selling agency in Prudential. I can remember one time my desk was just covered with applications. And I'm frantically working, trying to check, make sure all the answers are answered, and that the signatures are okay. And oh my gosh, I got an application where the signature, I had to take it to my manager. The applicant's signature was a bunch of circles. It was round and round and round and round and round and round and round. And I took it to my manager and I said, this is not a signature. She agreed. And I had to put it back to the agent and said, Prudential will not accept this signature. So I did get that application back. And I actually could read his name. So I think he was a foreigner. I forget now what nationality, but anyway. And then, I got to the point where I was doing most of the work in the office. And I started bucking it a little bit. And I told her I wanted to be off the underwriting desk. I wanted to go back to, I liked the area where, you had beneficiaries and just stuff like that. And I liked that. It was nice. It was interesting. And I wasn't so stressed out trying to get all these applications. And I would do 100 applications easy in a day. And that was a lot of work. That really was a lot of hustling. And so my manager said, yeah, you can take a break. And she put me on the transfer desk where people were transferring their life insurances for whatever reason. Maybe they either are moving or whatever. And it was so boring. Oh my God, I did not like that job. It was so boring. So my manager came over to me one day and she said, how would you like to help out the underwriter? I said, yeah, sure, I'll help out. Well, guess what? I was put back on as the underwriter because I did the best job. And that's how it went for quite a few years. But I knew every job in that office. And that was the time when, I don't know what the term was. You had to hire minorities. In other words, in an office of 12, if you had 10 white women, you had to have then 2 minorities. And that was, I believe that was a federal law. So we had a job opening. One of our women left. I don't remember why, but, and then we started seeing applicants. And I was in charge of accepting their applications, which was fine. And there was, I can't tell you, I know it had to be in the double digits of white women that applied for the job. And everyone was turned down. Not necessarily given the reason why. In fact, I'm sure they didn't know the reason why. I don't know what was said to them, but I'm sure that was not revealed to them. Anyway, finally we got a minority, and she was a black girl, and she was nice. Her name was Frances. I can remember Frances, and she was on one of the easier desks, and that was okay because she was starting out. And I don't know, there seemed to be some problems, and I really wasn't dealing with the problems. The manager was, and then the next thing I know, another woman left, and we had to hire another minority. That's the law. So again, more and more and more white women were applying. Some of the first applicants were coming back again, trying to get the job. We could not. I thought it was awful. I didn't like it. I just thought it was reverse discrimination. That's what I thought. Finally, we had a minority. And it seemed like it didn't matter what her qualifications were. Not that I had such great qualifications, but, they just had to accept her. And I thought, this is not right. The principle of the thing to me was not right. But that's what we had to do. I bet we went through 50, at least, applicants that were white. And we had 2 minorities that applied. And the 2 minorities got the job. So, in the meantime, I'm getting a lot of attention from Vernon. He was one of the insurance agents. He was married. He was very friendly. And there was a big wall between their offices and ours. It was a half wall. And he was always calling on me, to help him out with this, help him out with that. I don't really mind it. I liked helping people. I still do to this day. But I worked late. We were working late. And it was dark outside when I left to go home. I got in my car, and from nowhere came this hunk of a man in my car. And I was like this. I know, because I was trying to just get myself all together, and I felt hands all over me, and I'm like, oh, this is awful. I wanted to scream, but I couldn't scream. And when it was just getting to the point where I didn't know what I was going to do, and I know my eyes were closed, all of a sudden, I feel this man being pulled away from me. His hands aren't all over me all of a sudden. And here, one of the other agents saw what was happening and grabbed Vernon out of the car. And I said to Vernon, I said, I could have your job for doing this, but I know that you are married and you have children. And I said, I'm not going to do that. But don't you ever try anything like that again. Well, things were cooled off for quite a while. And we had a luncheon, and the agents and the girls were at the luncheon together. And of course, Vernon weasels his way and sits next to me. And I didn't really expect anything from him. But all of a sudden, his hand is on my knee, underneath the table. I moved his hand away. I didn't even look at it. Next thing I know, his hand is back on there. I got up. I didn't say anything because I didn't want to create a scene. And I got up and I walked away. I walked away and I found another place to sit. This Vernon, he just wouldn't stop. And then another day, I had to go into their office, the agent's office, and put some things in their closet. Papers, whatever it was. And I'm in the closet doing what I'm supposed to be doing. All of a sudden, I'm in complete blackness. I had left the door open. And here I am again with hands all over me. Hands all over me. I knew it was wrong. I just sensed it. Hands all over. All over. And I said, Vern, if you don't get your hands off me, I'm going to scream. I'm going to scream my lungs out. And he finally got his hands off me. And he opened the door. And he walked out first. I walked out behind him. And there were agents there looking. And not saying, but thinking, what the heck went on in there? What the heck? I mean, they were looking at me. They were looking at Vernon. And I just walked out. I just walked out of there. And I went back into my office with the other women. And that was the end. I never reported him. I never once reported him. And that was the end of him as far as touching me, I can tell you that. So across from our office on the 5th floor was another office. But there was no name on the door, just like our door had Prudential Insurance. And the other offices all had names. And I worked there for 6 years. And I noticed that there was a group of men, all in business suits, big men, very big men. Because I would see them in the elevators, I would see them in the hallways. And I noticed that they slipped in this door with no name on it. So I watched this, and there was probably 4 or 5 men in that office. And they were very quiet. And they really didn't talk very much. And we would be in the elevators going up and down, and they would never say a word. And finally I said, hello, hi, how you doing? They would respond to me, but it was... So, this spurred my interest. Who the heck are these people? And finally, I figured it out. And when I was in the elevator with one of them, I said to him, I said, I finally realized that you're the FBI. Oh, what, honey? This is my little kitty cat. Yeah, this is Amber. Amber Lynn. Yes, she's a rescue. And she loves it in here, doesn't she? Yes. She's my little baby. Mommy love. Okay, there you go. And he didn't say yes. He kind of nodded. And that was it. No further conversation. And just kept watching these guys in and out of this store. Nobody else seemed to notice. But I did. I mean, nobody ever talked about these men. You know, it was like, but you know, I finally got the interest. I thought, oh, I'd love to be an FBI agent. Oh, that would be interesting. And I kept thinking about it. I definitely want to be an FBI agent. So one day when I was in the elevator with another one of them, I said to him very quietly, and of course we were just alone, I said, I would love to be an FBI agent. And he shook his head. And I said, it's not possible. And he went like this. And that was the end of that. I don't know why. I just don't know why. I mean, I think I would have been a great FBI agent. When you get to know me more, you're going to realize I dig for information. I would love to get those bad guys. Ooh. Boy, I'd be rolling. I would be great. Oh, I would be great. I'm telling you. I know I would have been a great agent. And you know, they might not have been using many female agents at that time, but 100 years earlier, there was a female agent that worked for the Pinkerton Agency. It was a detective agency. And this woman, I can't remember her name, but you could go on the internet and find out. She was able to weasel her way into a southern group of men that were planning to assassinate President Lincoln. And she infiltrated that crowd, and she found out what the plan was. And she notified her boss at Pinkerton, which of course notified the President Lincoln. And so there was, they devised a plan, and she would be instrumental in this plan. And he was incognito. He was traveling from, again, I don't remember the city, but he was going to Washington, D.C. And they were on high alert because they knew that this group was planning to get the president. And I don't remember all the details, but she was the one that saved President Lincoln. She was able to maneuver his whereabouts so that the other people, the Southerners, didn't stand a chance to get Lincoln. So, and I know a female FBI agent that's, I better not say where she is, but she's young. She's in her 30s. And I've been living here for about 6 years, and I just found this out. So they don't advertise. No advertising. But I was very friendly with her mother, and I met her daughter, and she was extremely nice. And just, you know, like off the cuff, she told me what she did for a living. I was like, oh my gosh. I said, I wanted to do that years and years and years ago. And she told me that she is in some dangerous stuff. That she gets involved in some real dangerous stuff. So I said to her, I hope I'll pray for you, because I know you're doing a good job, and I know this is a job that needs to be done, but you're such a young, sweet girl. Please be careful. Oh. Anyway. Remember the craze of streaking? I don't remember any girls streaking, but the guys were streaking. They were streaking down football fields. They were streaking everywhere. It was a phase. Well, guess what? I saw my first streaker. I was in a store right on Main Street in Lansdale. I'm coming out of the store, looking straight. All of a sudden, there's this guy. He is running. And he ran right past me, and I realized he had no clothes on. And I was looking, and I'm looking, and he's running. He's running down that street as fast as he could go with not a stitch on. I can finally say I actually, up close and personal, saw a streaker. And that phase was something else. But these guys, these brave guys, they were having fun with it. I'll never forget that day. Je vous aime. That's I love you. I told you that before. I love you. Je vous aime. Come back and see me again. Au revoir.